Welcome to another sunrise drive. My name is Chase. It's a bit cloudy, getting a little later in the year, so the sun's not rising as soon until the time change. It's going to be later and later starts or something. I planned on doing this because normally it would take the last 20-30 minutes of my drive to my first stop. Was always right at sunrise. Well, the days are getting shorter or condensed or whatever, so it's a possibility that it could be darker when I start recording these, because if I start, or I'll have to record them after my first stop, which then the sun will be up. I don't know. We'll get to it. Like, I'll figure it out. Probably. I don't really have a plan on what I wanted to talk about. Had some ideas. Okay, so the last couple episodes I talked about hobbies. I talked about the motivational thing about working toward a goal, or building your credit, buying a house, figuring out something motivational or whatever. This one, well, I guess I can just I just roll into my mental ability, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I've always had ADHD. I mean, if I look at the symptoms, I mean, I've had these symptoms ever since elementary school. You know what I mean? I was just smart enough and just well behaved enough to never really be diagnosed with it in school, and it never really affected me, other than, you know, constantly being in trouble because of the inability to focus or anything like that. In my 5th grade years, I would have been 10, 11, something like that. I had a teacher who, Mr. Richardson, I think was his name. That's been years and years ago, so I'm pretty sure it was Richardson. Anyway, younger guy, at the time, you know, mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, probably, younger guy. He graduated college, was getting extra credits or whatever for teaching. I don't know. Like, he got his teacher's certificate, and then after he left, he only really taught for 1 year, and it was my year. And then after that, he went to state trooper school to become a highway patrolman. And he didn't come back the next year, the following year, and showed off like, oh yeah, look at, I'm a state trooper and blah blah blah. Anyway, so we so capital punishment kind of thing in elementary school where I grew up. Capital punishment would be, the write-ups in the principal's offices and stuff like that, which I did get a few of. And we've actually still got paddled. But in the classroom, instead of sending you to the principal's office all the time, how the teachers would deal with you is they would basically take away recess, and they would give you a punishment. And the punishment when I was in 5th grade was to write a paragraph of like, I'm sorry for my actions, I will never do this again, blah blah blah, respect blah blah blah, the rules, blah blah blah, something like that. You'd think I'd have it memorized as many times as I had to write them. Maybe I put a block on it. I had so many at one time. my teacher actually felt bad that I was just stuck inside all the time because so many of these paragraphs to write. He came up with a new punishment for me that actually allowed me to get some exercise and some fresh air when spring rolled around and it was nice enough weather for everybody to be outside for recess or whatever. He had me run essentially like a gasser hill from one tree at the top of the hill to another tree at the bottom. I would run around those. I went downhill, turn around and run back uphill. And each one of those laps was one paragraph. And then I could also write other ones too to kind of feel like, it was rainy or whatever. I could still write to try to like subtract the number or whatever. But I kept adding on to them. Until by the end of the school year. So we're talking, by the time we could go outside in the spring, let's call it, beginning of March when the weather was just nice enough to actually go outside or whatever, until May, maybe even into February too, like, could have had a mild winter. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. But realistically, or maybe it started in the fall. It might have started in the fall. I'm not 100% sure. So maybe I started running laps in the fall, and then like when wintertime came, it was too cold to go outside, so but then I was stuck inside for the winter writing paragraphs, and then spring came back around, I was back outside again. So something to that effect, I'm fairly sure. But anyway, he had figured up, by the time I think I finished everything, like maybe with 2 weeks left in the school year. I finally completed all of my laps, and and he calculated how many laps I had run. He stepped it off, measured it out, and then did the math on how far I ran in paragraphs up and down this hill, and I ran 28 miles. Is that a marathon? Is it 28 miles a marathon, or is that 28 kilometers? I know 28's in there. It's like 28's in there for something. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember. But yeah, basically over a school period of recesses, 20, 30-minute recess here, 20, 30-minute recess there, things like that. I was just running laps. So much so that like I got in trouble toward the end of the school year, like field day or whatever, where everybody was outside. I got in trouble. I was given 10 laps. I knocked them out in like no time. I'll do 10 laps and just busted them out. Got them finished in like 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. I don't know how far that is. Thinking back on it, as a kid, from what I can remember, and like I said, some memories are, trying to memorize the paragraph or whatever from back then, but like remembering that little tree on top of the hill, all the way to this big oak tree at the bottom of the hill, was, it felt so far. Now, it could have only been like 100 yards. It felt way further than that. It could have only been 100 yards, maybe 150. I was smaller back then too, so everything looked bigger as well. But I don't know. So that was my punishment. ADHD, ended up rambling on into different things, which is normally how it works. And I described this last night to a friend of mine, what my brain goes through when I'm trying to tell a story. And I said it's basically trying to go through a giant maze where the main story follows, you know, it zigs and zags or whatever. But my brain will run off and hit a dead end, and then I will come back to the main story, which is exactly what I just did. I ran off and hit a dead end, and then I'm back to the main story of the ADHD. And that is normally how I tell stories. And anybody that tells stories like this probably has ADHD, or ADD, or whichever one of the neurological things that one has. I got diagnosed with it about 10 years ago. Self-diagnosed, I guess, and then had a doctor that I was like, you know what, I think I got ADD. I can't focus at work, blah, blah, blah. And then he basically prescribed me, hit that subscribe button. Basically prescribed me Adderall. When this was very little research that I do, but I felt like I did have some of the symptoms, and it did help. The Adderall did help me quite a bit, actually, because I was kind of floundering in a job where I got promoted to a management position, and it was very hard for me to keep everything straight, to stay focused on things and get tasks done, and like I got overwhelmed. And my boss basically set me down, was like, you know, I didn't promote you to this position because I didn't think you couldn't do it, but like, you got to work on it. I'm going to have to let you go, basically. And that's when I was like, well, okay, well, I'm going to try this then, see if that helps me. And it did. It did help me, and I did pretty well on it for a long time. And then when I quit that job and went back to driving a truck full time, more or less, I stopped with the Adderall because I didn't feel like I needed that for the job. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to be taking more medicine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big guy. I don't like pills. I don't like taking medications all the time and stuff like that. A lot of things I try to overcome without it. Like I said, you know, if I get sick or whatever, I'll take some cold medicine. If I got a little bit of a headache, I may take some Tylenol or whatever. But it's not very often, and I you know, it's only normally in cases where I've suffered for, you know, a minute before I'm like, you know what, I need some relief. And that's when I'll take it. And that kind of stuff is what I take. Now, over-the-counter depression medication and stuff like that, like, I don't really believe in that stuff. And I get depressed. I think everybody gets depressed. And I go through it. I go through these, like, rejection and disparaging thoughts or whatever. That's mostly cause of the ADHD, because my mind starts thinking of every possible terrible outcome all at once. And that's just normally how it works. So, anyway, back to it. From what I've learned more recently, since I've gotten back on that, was what it actually, and I think maybe more studies have been done on it, and it's more widely known now. And there's still a lot of people that think that ADHD and like having to take Adderall and stuff is a crutch. Like, oh, you don't need that. You can just do this, or you can just put your mind to it, or you can just not be lazy and things like that. Like, yeah, there are some mental hoops you can kind of jump through, because you can do a lot with your brain if you can convince yourself to do it. Working out is a good example. Like, it's really hard to start getting working out. I think I talked about complacency and how the human body works in the previous episode, or at least in my limited scope, my understanding of it is. And ADHD, it's the same. It has a couple, like, bonuses as far as, like, there's a buff to it, I guess, if we're looking at, like, video game stats or board game stats or something like that. There's an ADHD buff that is kind of OP when it works, but it's on a randomizer, you know what I mean? It's like rolling and getting God mode for a little bit, but the next roll could be shit. It probably will be shit. Like, the chances fairly slim. And there are people that can utilize it. I'm not particularly one of those people that can choose and when and how my hyperfocus can work, will work. So basically my brain races at top speed all the time, which is why Adderall is a stimulant. It's basically it's an amphetamine that speeds your body up, it boosts your energy and all these things. And it levels people with ADHD out because it kind of allows other thought processes to catch up with the racing thoughts or whatever. It's weird, but that's kind of how it works. And it doesn't, and it's not 100% perfect as far as like being able to not lose focus or whatever, but like the Adderall definitely helps. It helps me. Some people, I mean, you know, things may vary across different people. It helps me. So another thing that I found out about ADHD is people with ADHD do not produce dopamine the same as normies, normal people. Basically, your brain produces a hormone called dopamine, hormones, and these hormones regulate your body in a way to work. I don't know, to feel accomplished, I guess. So, like I had said before, I think I'd said before, whatever, but some people find joy in a clean house because their dopamine is pumped out when they see a clean house. When they clean their house. Like, oh, my house is clean. It's great. No dishes. And all these things like that. And then, like, their brain produces dopamine or other hormones or whatever that says, you did a good job. Everybody loves praise, and that's your brain praising you, basically. You did a good job. You did a good thing. Keep your house clean. It makes you feel good. ADHD people are a little different in that, to where you do it one time and you clean your whole house and everything looks good. You're like, man, I feel really good about this. And then it gets a little dirty the next day. You know, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And like me, which is, I mean, I don't know. I've been in some messy houses, and I've been a bachelor for a long time. And my house is not perfect. It's really not. But I try to at least kind of do a deep clean, mop, sweep, get all my dishes done, get all my laundry done. I do that at least once a week, and I'll knock it out because it needs to be done. And my house is still not great. Like, it still needs a lot more work. It needs a real deep clean. I'm not good at it because I can't stay focused on it long enough to actually deep clean something. You know what I mean? Like, some people can actually scrub on one area and make it just perfect, and I can't do that. I am going through the motions to get the thing done that needs to be done because my body hates it. My brain hates it. I don't feel particularly good. Like, I do get a little bit of satisfaction, I guess, when I get everything clean, but mostly it's done. It's done. It's not like, oh, it looks so good now. No, it's like, it's done. I don't have to do this for another 7 days or whatever. That's most of my satisfaction from these things. Now, cleaning is just an example that most people can relate to, but it actually goes to that for a lot of things. Which is why, and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but I can give you my experience in it, working. Very hard for me. I've never been career focused, I guess, in a way that's like planning completely into the future, like retirement stuff. Like, I'm going to work for this company for years. I'm going to move up the ladder, and I'm going to do these things. And that's never been me. I've never thought about it. In fact, I work at a company until I get sick of it. looking for a different job. Normally one that pays better. Like, I'm not going to downgrade myself. There's always like a better perk or something. I make less money now than I did a couple years ago, but at the same time, it's like I said, there's perks to it. So I worked in the oil field all the way up in North Dakota, and that's not home. Home is here in Arkansas. And so I made more money up there, but I was further away from home. So when I moved back, I'm still driving a truck here, like I was doing in North Dakota, but I'm making substantially less money. But I'm home, not far away from it. If that makes sense. I mean, like, all my family and stuff's here, so this is home. Up there was not home, it was just work. So bonuses, like I said, when I switch jobs from whatever, normally it's whatever perk. So if I do happen to go back to North Dakota, it will be money. Just be missing home. But anyway, like I said, that goes back and forth. Like if a company gets under my skin and I get aggravated, a lot of times my brain disassociates from it because I do not get joy from it. Being a truck driver, weirdly enough, actually fits with the ADHD brain pretty well. Because while I am focused on the road, I am driving, I'm checking my mirrors, I'm focused here, I can still read it. I'm talking, but I'm not like super distracted or whatever, but with heightened, I don't know, I don't say senses or whatever, but I do have like a, I don't know if it's reaction time or what, like I'm weirdly, brain can brain just fine, you know what I mean, and I don't have to be, I don't know, like it's not really a chore, I guess, and the scenery is always different, more or less, you know what I mean, different cars in the road, different things to do. But really, in all honesty, like, this job works for me pretty well because, you know, I can clean in the truck, I can talk to myself, I don't have a boss, you know, I don't have to try to hit some imaginary number, I have a place to go do thing, go another place, basically. Like, I don't have to trying to like hit sales figures and play a part or whatever. I'm just me in the truck listening to music or whatever. As I go. So, and like I said, so as far as work goes, yeah, it's hard for me because, like I said, once I don't feel accomplished by a job or whatever, I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm not making more, but I'm not making enough money. Like, it's time to find something new to do, and then we just move on. We just bounce. Go to the next thing. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the deal with ADHD, and I've tried to explain this to other people. Like, I bought a house. Started doing home improvement stuff, like remodel things, and that is absolutely terrible for me because when I just to go do it on my own, I don't want to, not even a little bit, and I can't force myself to do it because I will get mad. Like, weirdly enough, if the brain, if my brain is telling me you don't want to do that, a lot of times it will get to the point where I'm actually fighting myself to get anything done, and it's awful. It is painful. It is rage-inducing to just do the thing that I want to. Like, I want to get that room done. I really do, but I don't want to work on it. So much so to the point where, like, the next projects I do, I'm going to plan ahead enough to where they're not going to be multiple stage products, and I can do it all in one go, all in one day, so I can, like, hey, you know, 2 or 3 people come help me out, everything's ready, everything's here, you know, we're going to plan this day to do this thing, you know, and get it all done in one day, and then be done with it. and I have to mess with it no more. Because I am a terrible self-starter when it comes to stuff like that. And it is rough, man. It is real rough. It is real rough to do those things. So the bedroom, I want to get back. I need to get it finished. I've been working on this project for over a year. It's just, and I keep adding to it. You know, I initially just ripped the carpet up and was like, you know, I'm just going to put new flooring in because the carpet's bad. You know, and that wouldn't have been that big of an issue. Not really. But then I was like, well, if I'm going to redo the flooring, I might as well redo the walls too, because they're all just kind of muted paint and it was old wood paneling and it didn't look that great. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to redo the walls too. You know, if I'm going to redo the walls, I'm going to redo the trim. And then I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this like decorative deal on the back wall kind of deal to break up the room. It'll be all paint, brand new, shiny, and I've got this old lumber stuff that I'm going to put on one wall that goes behind the bed, and then I'm going to mount something else to that for the headboard, and then that's where my bed and stuff is going to be. There is no moving around this room. There really is no, the way the room is designed and with a king size bed, there's really no other place for anything for it to be. I tried like rearranging it, it didn't fit. So anyway, that's how the room's going to be designed, along with the closet area, like a big walk-in closet area. So I've redone all that. Well, I tried to cheap out, I guess. I'm rambling. This is how this works, man. This is just how these stories go, because now I'm going to tell you about the room. Sorry, this is how ADHD brain. This is where it goes, man, and I just write it out. So, plan on all these things. Get the flooring bought. Try to basically hide all of the wood paneling with like drywall or stucco or mud or whatever. Like, try to fill in all the cracks and whatever. I did all that. I painted it. I put some. I spent, I don't know, I probably spent close to $100 on redoing all this stuff, and I got it like primed, put knockdown stuff on it, and then I didn't like how it turned out. It didn't look as good after I put the paint on it. I painted the whole room, used the whole gallon of paint, and then I didn't like it. It just did not look good. Not for the amount of work that I'd already put into the room. It did not look good. So, back to the drawing board. Now I put sheetrock up all over the paneling to give it a cleaner look. And that's where I've been at, fighting this for the last several months. Trying to get this sheetrock up. And I've got it all up now, and now I've got to sand it down, add another coat of mud on one other room. And then, really, in all honesty, like, I don't have that much left to do as far as the main drywall stuff. I'm trying these stupid, I think it's called bullnose. Basically, it's like a plastic corner that I put up, and then I fill that in with mud too. And then when all that is dried and everything's painted, it looks like the corner just is, you know, rounded and sloped and looks really pretty or whatever. It's not working. It's not working like I wanted to. It's been fighting me the whole time. I really thought there was a better way to do this when I was initially making the choice to go to drywall. Like, I really thought there was going to be a good way to do those things. And it's this plastic crap, and I hate it because I'm really fighting it, and it's really fighting me, and it's terrible. And I need to get it done, but it sucks so bad. It sucks so bad. One of these days I'll go work on it. I bought more tools and whatnots to try to get it finished, and I just need to get it finished. Work on it. I just don't want to. I'm also juggling a bunch of other hobbies and stuff. Started a little lawn mowing business this year. I was pretty gung-ho when I started it. It has not produced near what I thought it was going to. I probably made enough money, roughly, to make the payment for the mower all year. I'm hoping come. Well, that's another thing too. Like, I'm trying to figure out a different way to work in the mowing business or the lawn care business stuff into the fall, with like leaf disposal or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know yet. I have to probably spend some more money on some other tools and whatnot. Better leaf blowers, vacuum. I was gonna get a wood chipper to like clean up sticks and stuff out of people's yards. Anyway, like I said, there's more ideas I have. I don't know. I'm working on that. But at the same time, I'm also really, I've wanted to be a content creator for years and years. And I know this is an excuse or whatever, but like ADHD is terrible for me to do these things, because there's times when I just don't want to. And it's so hard. You gotta hit that like button, you gotta hit this thing, you gotta do that. I know I gotta do those things. It's so hard to do it. Like last night, I was gonna stream. I really had it set in my head to stream. I needed to. I haven't streamed on Mondays in 3 or 4 weeks now. Like, it's been a hot minute since I've streamed, and I need to get back to the stream. I did not stream. I did upload 2 of these sunrise videos in my podcast, and I uploaded that. So I did work towards something, but it wasn't the thing that I should have worked toward. But I did get content out on the channel. I also need to, and I'm super bad at scheduling, man. Like, I'm super bad at it, because the way my job works, I don't have a set time when I get home. Sometimes, like yesterday, I got home about 3 o'clock, 3:30, fairly early. Mostly because my truck was in the shop. I did one load, and then my truck was in the shop, and it was about 1 or 2 o'clock when it was done, and didn't really have time to do another load, not get home at like 7 o'clock at night anymore. So I just got off early. And anyway, so planning out things to do, like a stream I can schedule, because like I would say almost never will I get home after 7 o'clock. Almost never will I get home after 6 o'clock. So I can plan those things like after 6 or whatever. And scheduling out, like, I'm going to stream on this day. And I did pretty well for a little while. And I really need to get back to it, because Monday's stream was supposed to be, make shit Monday, where I work on things like other than playing video games, because I do like streaming, but streaming video games is so hit or miss for me to try to grow my channel, to try to have a brand or whatever that I want. I don't play one video game and it's it. I'm not perfect at one video game. Like, ADHD brain, I cannot do that. I can play a game for so long, and while the dopamine's pumping, I'm good, I'm great, I'm loving it. But then, like, as soon as I hit a fall off on it, like, that's it. I don't want to play that game anymore. And like, I physically just don't want to. And I hit those points with those games. So I cannot be a this gamer. I cannot be a this or that. You know what I mean? Like, my buddy was like, "Oh, you should you should do truck simulator or whatever on stream. And I'm like, why would I do that when I literally drive a truck right now? It's like going to work, getting off work, and then clocking back into work again. It sounds terrible. That's like a pilot flying a 747 going home and watching Flight Simulator. Like, why would you do that? Anyway, so streaming games is weird for me because I cannot stick to one game and draw an audience from a particular game or whatever. It just doesn't work for me. I'm more variety, and honestly, like, I'm not really that entertaining, I guess. Like, if I've got people talking to me while I'm gaming, I can respond back for the most part, but a lot of times I just go quiet and just like zone in, hyper focus in, and I don't think about anything else. I chat, I'm talking, I just play the game and have fun playing the game, which is why I say I'm just not super entertaining, because I can't do this yapping while my attention is drawn to the game. I feel like I have to divert all of my focus to the game instead of being able to just let my... So I guess some people may have like a separate brain where they can focus on the game, they can play the game, and then their other side of their brain just talks all the time non-stop. I don't have that. Mine is talk all the time non-stop or focus on the game. I don't have a divide, not really. I'm gonna put a pause on this one for now, and then, so this one is gonna be like a two-parter, I guess. Like, I'm not finished yapping just yet, but I'm fixing to be at my first stop, and I'm gonna have to get off here. So what I'm gonna do is this is gonna just probably directly edit right back into the next part. So we'll see everybody here in just a bit. My ADHD has allowed me to be extremely creative in a way to think up new scenarios and new worlds and things like that, kind of on the fly. The problem with it is I mostly can create a story start to finish in my head before I ever even get a chance to put any of it on paper. So then I forget most of the things that I've come up with. So I've told a whole complete fictional story in my head. Some of my ideas, I've kept the core ideas and most of the things done. And the sad part about it is, like, so I have a handwritten book, story, whatever, off of an OC character I made in a college art class. I did an OC character, and I started giving him a backstory, and I just kept going with the backstory. And I have 170 something handwritten pages of this story that I should turn into, and I don't know, maybe I should hire a ghostwriter. I don't know. Maybe that'd be a thing, like have somebody go in and like touch it up and make, like, take my ideas and punch them up or fill in blanks, or I don't know. I need a partner. I really do. And everybody's like, ideas are the easy part. I don't know. Have you seen some of the shit that comes out of Hollywood nowadays? It seems like ideas are pretty freaking good ones. Pretty hard to come by. Like I said, I've got several things working, and like something I want to get back to, and I've worked on, got fairly along in the process. It'll be nowhere near completion. I started a tabletop RPG system based off of an anime. Like the core game that I want to run is based off an anime, but I'm also trying to make it a rule set that you can add your own scenario to. Like a horror, survival, PvE, PvP, tabletop role-playing game. It can be used for whatever setting you want to have it. Ghosts, or zombies, or like I had it set in the high-rise invasion anime where you fight against these masked creatures or whatever. But the core rule set can be used for any kind of horror game. And it's kind of all open source in the way that if you don't want a PvP element, you don't have to have it. If you want a PvP element, you can totally have it. You can mix and match and toss out rules or whatever. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I want to make that platform and get that working on it again. So back to that. That's it. That's what I want. I want that. Figure out a way to give people stats or whatever. Work those things in. So anyway, I've got a ton of ideas and things that I want to finish, and I just don't know if I ever will finish or not. I really don't. Because I've already finished them in my head, and when I sit down and try to put them on paper, dopamine's gone, man. Doesn't work. Feels like work to try to type these things out. And I'd rather just be doing things that make me feel good. I can't be. That's another big crutch about ADHD is I don't like being uncomfortable. My body fights so hard to get back to this neutral state. Never keep myself outside of a comfort zone and try to push myself into a thing, which is why it sucks that I may never actually publish any of these things or have as many of my ideas hit. I don't know, man. I really don't know. If I had time, like if I was independently wealthy, there's a lot of ifs. If I didn't have to work full time, or I could devote to writing or whatever, maybe. It's a big maybe. I don't know. If I had somebody on my ass pushing me, because deadlines are all irrelevant to me. I know I've had a buddy of mine, set deadlines for yourself. Those are imaginary things that have no real world consequences to me. Unless I have a real world consequence, which you can force upon me, like, job. You do job, you don't do job, you get fired. That's a real world consequence. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do job, you don't make money, you don't get food. Real world consequence. Unless those things come up, nothing. Now, which is why I say that. And then leading into some of the other, like, bonuses or whatever. Puzzle solving, pattern recognition, very keen at people with ADHD. We can sense things that it's kind of like a sixth sense in a way, kinetic vision, in a way that pretty much everything that I see is, I don't know, never really zoned out. I guess it's always kind of like peripheral vision is definitely running on autopilot. If something flew at me here, most people, they can react to it. Most of the time, I'll react to it. It's just how it works. Weirdly, autopilot reflex brain works pretty well most of the time. I don't actually have to be thinking about doing the thing, and my body just does it. Driving is one. Don't drive distracted. Drive with ADHD and see what happens. Just see. So there's that. Pattern recognition. Problem solving in a crisis mode. When most people panic in a crisis, we actually become more calm in a crisis in the chaos because everything's moving so fast. And now our brain is able to work at that speed normally. So crisis mode, situations, problem solving. If we need a quick solution for things, that's when I work the best. Sadly, I'm not in those situations all the time anyway. So there's definitely positives to it. Food is a terrible consequence because I can't eat the same thing over and over again. I can't eat the same thing more than 3 times in a row. My brain's too bored of it. I don't get any pleasure from it. Doesn't matter what it is. dieting sucks with ADHD because I know what I need to do. I know it. Chicken breast and like this low carb stuff, and I can do a meal plan or whatever. But like if I tried to do that and eat the same thing every day, I would blow my fucking head off. That would be, it's such a bad spot. It just be, so I don't know. It's bad. I need to get back to it. All right, well, that kind of wraps me back around. There's another 15 minutes to the second half of this. I did a little rant in the middle of this, which will probably be cut out. That will be, I think I'm going to cut it out and just post it as like a secondary or a different video altogether. When I get time to edit, when I sit down and do it, whenever that is, I don't know. I need to get back to it. I need to get better. I know I do. But anyway, this is Mayonnaise Chase. The sun's out. Nope, that's wrong. We're going to cut that one. We're going to redo that. This is Mayonnaise Chase Sunside. This is Mayonnaise Chase Sunrise Drive. I'm uploading this crap on YouTube. I'm going to try to do it 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. I'm going to schedule them for in the morning so they drop in the mornings. If you see this, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, tell me I'm dumb, tell me I'm pretty, tell me I'm whatever, I don't know. Say good job. I need affirmation, please. Go follow me on X, Mayonnaise Chase on X. Go follow me on Twitch, Mayonnaise Chase on Twitch, where I do a live podcast on Thursdays. I want to do more live streaming. I don't know when that'll be yet. We'll figure it out as we go. Yeah, Mayonnaise Chase everywhere. Just check me out. Please hit the subscribe button. I need more subscribers, dude. Like I want people to see this. I don't know. Maybe they won't.